we need to address this. America has a cuck fetish, and I mean a really serious cuck fetish. Shout out Adam22.
Personally, I think the more men that your woman has spent time with before you get her, the more desirable she becomes.
And as of late, Logan Paul.
But it has the body.
Damn, it's so corny. Fuck! but for real, I thought that was good. I thought that was what you did was good, just right.
So let's try and uncover some of the prime animating causes of this whole thing. How did cuckoldry proliferate through the Western zeitgeist so thoroughly? A zeitgeist that is now being exported to all global cultures. As with most things in the modern day, it starts with a very lazily derived and all-encompassing notion. The one in question today is white people. To put it more euphemistically though, or less, I don't know anymore. It starts with a majority. A term like white people is lazily used to signify the lowest common denominator for a majority in a certain context, which in the case of race for America or the West is white people. The primary notion of a majority is one that can be extrapolated and universally applied to any largely homogeneous aspect of a society. So depending on what social context is being considered, the majority shifts. So what does the racially charged notion that is white people as the majority in the context of this prevailing fetish of cuckoldry have to do with America and the West? White people currently are, but will soon not be, the majority population in the US, Canada, and in some of their native homeland of Europa. They're already a minority globally speaking. America is the trendsetter and exporter for culture globally, and the nation is deeply American-centric, because the only world that exists for America, apparently, is America. So there's not much room for nuance. What is considered good and true generally only factors in the realities of the American domain. Now, American popular mainstream culture is being inseminated by extreme or radical anti-racist, anti-homophobic, or anti-any and all anti-minority sentiments. Cool double negative. And America doesn't do global, unless it's very specifically valuable to the powers of America that be, making any serious consideration of a global minority verboten. America also loves its heroes. America has justified its entire existence through hero arcs, because we all need to be heroes. And in this ever-prevailing cultural dichotomy of hero versus villain, as compared to the past, who the good guys and the bad guys are in the majority versus minority dichotomy has been completely flipped. Due to the endless broadcasting by popular media that the majority are intrinsically evil, the majority has now become the absolute evil other. You sprinkle a little throwback to Christianity and add to that potion only the worst sides of America's or Europe's tense recent past, a dash of the death of God, then what you get is Western majorities being put on a social guillotine by the mainstream media, thrusting them into positions of self-abnegation, crisis of identity, prostration, humiliation, and self-sacrifice as the only valid positions to take in the mainstream social sphere or cultural zeitgeist. Such displays of submission are deemed rightful and necessary because they must make these efforts to redeem themselves of their original sin, the sin that cannot be named. Now, for some people, being in the position of the modern humiliated is okay because it gives their atomized, hyper-individualized existence some meaning. Race is a fundamental element of one's identity construct, especially in the Western context, as modern society deems this part of one's identity to be of a high precedence. It is one of the few tethers that allows a means by which the individual can identify and feel a connection to the collective majority. However, due to the need for belonging, acceptance, and the need to be heroes, or on the right side of history, the only acceptable identity an individual who is a member of the majority is allowed to have in modern society is as the modern humiliated that I just outlined. The individuals, if you can call them that most neatly fit into this mold are the ones most predisposed to herd mentality, the NPC types. Largely, however, this whole thing is predicated in a ritual of humiliation, specifically of the masculine principle. It is a ritual that requires the prevailing masculine principle, or archetype, of whatever majority is in the crosshairs to abdicate its seat as head of the culture. Like when a lion loses the fight for its role as the head of its pride, it is humiliated and flees if it is not dead. The victors immediately proceed to kill the cubs, and the lionesses, because top G's have harems.
I find myself super funny. I find myself super funny.
Grow subservient to the new leader of the pride. So what does the humiliation of a masculine archetype entail? It entails becoming submissive, embracing servitude, and surrendering resources and labor to the victor. For the feminine principle, it entails a surrender of their reproductive capacities as women. All the efforts that were once dedicated to nurturing the seed of the previous will be committed to the new. The winning side demands acceptance of whatever condemnation they choose to impose, along with respect and submission from the masculine orders. From the feminine, it simply commands submission. Women naturally strive to preserve the continuation of the species and themselves through their natural eugenesis instinct, because evolution, so they allow the now more dominant counterpart to pass on their seed. The submission of the feminine is commanded naturally by the victorious, dominant, and respect-worthy masculine other. Additionally, as women have grown empowered in the workplace and earned their own money, slowly but surely taking over the intellectual echelons of society, these strong women, keeping the base nature of the feminine in mind, will obviously only be attracted to something that can command their respect and therefore submission. The only sphere left to do that in is the physical one, so attraction is increasingly reduced only to something that is dictated by primal instinct. So what do we see then? As the majority males, the physical embodiments of the evil, old, popular masculine archetype are stripped of their traditional methods to gaining social influence in the hierarchy and are replaced by women, and then are juxtaposed to the new heroic other. With this juxtaposition, a natural cuckolding occurs in favor of new males that embody and behaviorally express the new, rightful masculine counter-archetype. With a diminished value in the sexual marketplace, the majority men are relegated to merely being beta providers who only serve to uphold a system that enables the matriarchy to be in charge, while the ruling feminine embraces her new toys that she sees as a more true and authentic primal counterpart. Due to the various forces at play here, the emasculation and subsequent cuckolding is occurring at various levels and depths of the collective psyche. No doubt, this is a complex topic with various facets, and please bear in mind that I've only covered this in one specific social context: America, albeit probably the most widespread one in contemporary times. In truth, I think we've barely scratched the surface here. The depths of it all I cannot possibly cover in one video, where I'm hoping to provide value to populations with increasingly short attention spans. So if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us grow. Also, thoughts, leave comments down below. I do love a living thought process. Kill us in pink, baby. We out.
Bro, it's not even that serious.